Morning folks, I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters and the Pathfinder School. What I'd like to discuss this morning is what Horace Kephart called fire irons in his book Woodcraft and Camping. And obviously we are dictated by conveyance on how much paraphernalia we can carry for camp cooking, and the luxuries that we would like to have in a camp to make it more like home. If you have a canoe, if you have a sled, if you have a four-wheeler, something like that, you can afford to carry more, obviously, than you can carry on your back. And fire irons were something suggested by Horace Kephart to carry in that medium conveyance category. You're not taking a wagon train or, some type of big truck or something like that, or car camping, but you have some type of conveyance that you can carry a little extra weight. Fire irons become very handy. And what they are, as he describes them, is flat metal stock, 1/8 inch thick, 1.5 inches wide, and 2 feet long. And with them, you can lay them across 2 logs or 2 rocks that are approximately the same height and use them as a stable platform for cooking on. Because they are just made from flat strap steel, they're very hard to destroy, they're very durable, they're very compact, they weigh about 2 pounds for the pair, and you can use them in lots of different ways to manipulate pots and pans for cooking over the fire with lots of different types of stands, whether it's logs, whether it's rocks, whether it's mounds of dirt. It doesn't matter. You can do all of those things and these cook irons will work fine, and they're very durable. If they get bent or something happens like that, you can just pound them back flat again. If they get rusted, it really doesn't matter. So they're pretty much indestructible compared to a cooking grate of some kind where the mesh in that grate's liable to warp and rust out over time. These are going to last. Now, a couple things that I've done with mine that are mods to what Horace Kephart did was, first of all, he didn't talk too much about these in depth, but he just talked about the size, the weight, and the use of them. But what I did was I rounded the corners off on mine so that they'd be less apt to poke into things or poke me. And then I drilled about a 1/4 inch hole in both ends. And the reason I did that was so that I could use them as a pot trivet that was adjustable to cook with over coals, and not necessarily have to have 2 logs or 2 rocks or 2 piles of dirt, because I can take 3 wing nuts and 3 bolts, carriage bolts, and 3 nuts, and then 6 washers, and make this into a trivet. And I'll show you that real quick and how that works right now. So what I've done with my cook irons is I've just drilled holes in one end of both of them, and then I have rounded the corners off. And now I have 5-inch carriage bolts with a bolt, 2 washers, and a wing nut. And now I can take the wing nut off and one of the washers off like this, stack 2 of these on one, just like this, and put that back together. And this becomes a leg at this point, so that I am making a 3-legged device. And I can tighten this down, and then come to the other end and spread this out like this, and put these on the other end. You're not adding very much weight at all to do this, because these 3 bolts with these nuts hardly weighs a thing. If you're going to go ahead and pack 2 extra pounds for these fire irons, you might as well take the bolts too. Then you have the versatility of using this thing a little bit easier than trying to find 2 logs or 2 rocks or anything like that if you choose to do so. And now you can set this on the ground and you can manipulate it to the width you want. Put your pot on there, put your coffee pot on, put your bush pot on down here, cook a couple things at one time or whatever you want to do, but you don't have to necessarily have the logs to make that happen. So it's a pretty easy, quick mod that seems to work really, really well. All right, folks, well, I appreciate you joining me for this quick video on Horace Kephart's fire irons and a simple modification to those fire irons to make a simple cook trivet. On the next video, we're going to go ahead and use our Dutch oven. I've been wanting to test this aluminum Dutch oven outdoors anyway. I've cooked in it a couple times inside. It's pretty impressive so far. Now I'm going to cook Cornish hen casserole on the video following this one. I'm Dave Canterbury with the Pathfinder School. I appreciate your views. I appreciate your support. I appreciate everything you do for our school, for our family, and for our business, for all of our sponsors, instructors, affiliates, and friends, and I'll be back with another video as soon as I can. Thanks, guys.